Hey guys, welcome back to a video. I wanted to make a video talking about my lizard, TinyFoot. She died today, so R.I.P to TinyFoot. Am I happy about it? Of course not. But nothing I could do. I always hold a place for TinyFoot in my heart. I remember when I first got TinyFoot. So I hung out with Willie, and I went to go look around the pet shop, and we had some money on us, on each other, and we looked around PetSmart. I was looking at fish. I was looking at a couple kittens, and stuff was great. Then I saw a green anole lizard, and it wasn't that much, and I actually had like $30 on me, right? And I was like, cool. And then Willie had like more than that. So, and TinyFoot was like 60. So I needed another $30 for TinyFoot. But I didn't know it was a she yet, and I didn't know her name was going to be TinyFoot. So I looked at Willie in the aisle, because we were looking at dog chew toys, and we sat there and we were like, oh, by the way, you know, talking and stuff. And puppy calm. That bird's gone off of that root of the tree. Quit. And so like, I was talking to Willie and I was like, hey man. He was like, yeah, what's up? I said, there's a green lizard. I didn't even know it was a null yet. I didn't know what type of lizard it was. I just knew it was a green lizard. I was like, hey man. And he's like, yeah, what's up? I said, there's this green lizard over here. I got some money, but not a lot. Do you think you could help me buy TinyFoot? I didn't say TinyFoot, but you know what I mean. Like, can you help me buy this lizard? And he sat there and he was like, sure, man. Yeah, I don't see why not. Got some money. I was like, okay, cool. So I sat there, and it's cold today. The weather lied, because it said 55 Fayetteville today. And come out in shorts and no hoodie, because I think it's going to be warm, but it's cold. Anyway, sorry, I gotta hold my phone. My hand's getting numb. Anyway, so yeah, I was like, hey man, could you help me buy this lizard? He's like, yeah, sure. So I bought the lizard and we bought the components for it. His mom gave me the red lamp and we bought TinyFoot, and we were in their van, and it was actually also the day that I saw my music teacher, Miss Messenger. She was in there, and I had a picture with her, and I took a video of her tattoo and stuff like that. Anyway, so we left. We was in the van. We was going home, but we had to go to this place first. Anyway, to get some stuff. And there was me, Mom, Shania, Catherine, Micah, and Willie. Well, we were thinking of names in the car, and I was looking on my phone to see what names would be good for a lizard. Now you're probably thinking, how'd you come up with TinyFoot? Isn't it obvious? No, I'm just playing. No, how I came up with TinyFoot was I looked up lizard names because I couldn't think that day. I couldn't think of names that day. So I sat there and I was thinking of names for a lizard. Then this name popped up on Google and it said Smallfoot, right? It said Smallfoot. And I said, nah, that doesn't sound as good. It doesn't really sound good for a lizard. It's cool, but it doesn't sound really nice. It doesn't sound really good. And then we was thinking of other names for small, and Tiny came up. And I was like, hey, TinyFoot. I like that. What do you think, Mum? And my mum's like, see, Smallfoot doesn't have a ring to it, but TinyFoot, now that has a ring to it. And I was just like, yeah, you're right, Mum. You're right. So we sat there, we named her TinyFoot. I thought it was a he at first, because I found out if it has a red gizzard, it's a female. But if it... No, sorry. If it has a... Sorry. If it has a red gizzard, it's a male. But if it's a female, it doesn't have a gizzard. Sorry about that. Yeah, bleh. Brain. So anyway, yeah, red gizzard male, no gizzard female. And how I found out was it has no gizzard. So, hey Richard, how's it going? No, you're not Richard. Never mind, you're not big. Must be his cousin. Anyway, so, or brother-in-law. Anyway, so, sat there, and we had that name, and Willie, Micah, and Catherine were like, that has a ring to it, TinyFoot, that's a ring. That has a ring to it. And I was like, yeah, it does, doesn't it? So, I went to go feed TinyFoot last night, and I was playing with Hannah, and I was actually chatting to a girl named Harley Quinn. I know, right? And me and Hannah were chatting on IMVU. Even though she wasn't planning to be on IMVU, we were on IMVU anyway. So sat there, and we were chatting, and my mom went at the top of the stairs and went, hey, can I tell you something? It's very important. I was like, okay. So I go upstairs, and my mom is looking very sad at my lizard terrarium. And I was like, wait, what? What's going on? And my mom was like, TinyFoot died. And this was today. It was around 4 o'clock in the morning. Or, no, not 4 o'clock. So, see, my brain is just all scrambled. I think it was 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, 5 o'clock in the morning. So, at 5 o'clock in the morning, my mom was like, hey, TinyFoot died. And so I took some pictures, and it's on my Facebook and Instagram. On my Instagram and on my Facebook. On my story and as a picture. And I told people that a lizard that was her, a green anole. Because last night my mom looked up my lizard, right? And it was the first search, actually, which was really wild. And it said that the total lifespan for a green anole is 3 years. Well, I already had TinyFoot for a year. So, what I'm thinking is, because I was thinking things in my head like, oh, it's my fault. Oh, we didn't change her terrarium enough and she got sick and she died. I was thinking all of these alternatives, right? To blame it on myself, but I'm not blaming myself now. I just think now, oh yeah, well, she's in a better place and she wasn't meant to be here anymore. She had her purpose. So, anyway, that's what I thought. And Hannah, thank you for helping me. You were so comforting and stuff, telling me about Wicket and telling me how you felt, and go listen to ocean sounds when I go to sleep. Thank you for that. You're a really good best friend for that. Thank you very, very much. And I love you very much, Hannah, and I appreciate that. So, anyway, back to TinyFoot. Thank you, Hannah. TinyFoot was special. And I could kind of tell she was dying because, well, she had black, like 2 slit black marks on the side of her face. And I was like, oh, crap, what does that mean? And my mom sat there and was like, oh, it just means she's going to shed. So I didn't really think about it. You know, I didn't really think, oh, yeah, it's a sign, it's a warning sign that she's going to die soon. I didn't think that. But, you know, what I learned last night, and I knew this, but I had to have another reminder. I had to have a reminder that everything has a lifespan, and you just got to accept when the lifespan is done. But back to the 3 years thing for TinyFoot. So, the average lifespan of a green anole, which was, that's what species TinyFoot was a green anole, and it's spelled ANOLE, I'm pretty sure. A green anole, her species lives up to 3 years. So what I'm thinking is that she was in PetSmart for 2 of those years, just sitting in there. And then that year I had her, well, 1, it was the happiest year of her life, and 2, she got to be a pet. For that 1 year, she got to be a pet. So that was good. And I'm happy about that. And what's sad is the fact that Hannah came over, but she couldn't go up in my room because things were not how they should be. And she couldn't hold TinyFoot because the day Hannah was here, TinyFoot was still alive and she was still breathing. But when I found her today, she looked dead and was lifeless in the mulch. So, anyway, I told Micah today, and I was like, hey, I texted him on Messenger, I was like, hey. He was like, yeah. I said, I gotta tell you and Willie something. He was like, oh, okay, sure. I was like, hey, you busy? He was like, no, why? I said, hey, I gotta tell you something. And he was like, sure, what is it? And I said, you know my lizard TinyFoot? He was like, yeah. I said, she died today. And he was like, oh no, I'm so sorry, man. And I'm like, it's okay. Thank you. And so, anyway, I was like, and tell Willie, thank you for buying TinyFoot. And I had a really good life with TinyFoot. She had a really good life. And I had a good life with TinyFoot. And he was like, okay, I will, sure. So, we just got off around, like, 42 minutes ago. But when I stepped out that door, I posted about TinyFoot 29 minutes ago. So, yeah. Anyway, I hated that Hannah didn't get to hold TinyFoot. Neither did, well, in a way, Micah and Willie and Catherine, Mum and Shendaya did. In a cup that was clear, and it had holes at the top so TinyFoot could breathe, so that way she could breathe. And yeah, but not like physically hold her. Hannah didn't get to physically hold her. She just saw pictures and just saw TinyFoot through the glass. And she's like, I'm sad. I was like, oh yeah, about TinyFoot? She was like, well yeah, that, but also that I didn't get to hold TinyFoot. I wish when I was here on that Saturday with you, doing those pictures and stuff, I wish I held her at least once. And I was like, yeah, me too. I wish you held her too. Hannah was like, oh, I wish I held TinyFoot. I was like, oh yeah, I wish you held TinyFoot too. And yeah, so, but what we're gonna do today, sweetie, you got a leaf beard. Anyway, I might call it this too, leaf beard, sweetie leaf beard. So R.I.P TinyFoot and sweetie leaf beard. I don't know. It might just be just R.I.P TinyFoot. Well, take out the just. It'd be R.I.P TinyFoot. So, anyway. So basically, what we're going to do today is Hannah wants to be a part of this, and the only way she could be a part of this is on Instagram video chat. So what we're going to do this afternoon, well, my mom and dad got to go to the shops, but not just that. But this afternoon, me, and technically Hannah, and Dad are going to go to the pond. So you know that pond over there? Over that way? Well, that pond over there, we're going to take my dad's army shovel, and we're going to bury TinyFoot next to the pond. Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to bury TinyFoot with the army shovel next to the pond. And we're going to do that. So, that would be cool. But sad. And I'm going to have my saying. And so is Hannah. She's going to have her saying about TinyFoot. I'm going to have my saying about TinyFoot. I'm not going to take Sweetie. I wish I could, but I'm not going to take Sweetie because she'll be up in everyone's business, so to speak. And yeah, and Dad's gonna have a few words, and then we'll just cover TinyFoot up with dirt, and yeah, hope God took her, and we'll just leave. And I'll end the video chat with Hannah because like my data and stuff is bad. So, well, that's what we're gonna do. And yeah. So anyway, that's what happened today. So go check out my Instagram story and my Facebook story, like I said. So anyway, and I miss TinyFoot, and I think Hannah misses TinyFoot, and so does Maze, my bird, and so does Sweetie, and yeah. So, and Mom, Dad, and Hannah miss TinyFoot, and I miss TinyFoot like a lot. But about IMVU, I thought I'd just throw it out there anyway. Basically, about IMVU. Well, me and Hannah were watching Godzilla last night, the new Godzilla, Zilla and Kong 2021, the new one. And it's an hour and 53 minutes. Well, anyway, we were watching it, and before this, I was playing Minecraft and I was listening to MacNed's new album, Godmom. And yeah, and I was chatting to Hannah and she was playing Sims 4. And she was like, hey, that movie's out today, isn't it? Because yesterday was the release date for Godzilla vs. Kong. And it came out yesterday. I don't know what time of the day yesterday, but it came out yesterday. And so, anyway, came out yesterday. So, Hannah propped me up in her windowsill, and we sat there and we watched the movie for an hour and 53 minutes, almost 2 hours. Can you turn it down? Thank you. And so, like, we was talking through it. She was like, at the beginning of the movie, she was like, no talking. And if you're a real man, you don't go to the bathroom. And so, like, I was like, okay, cool. So, anyway. And that's what happened. And we sat there, and she was saying funny stuff during the movie, and I thought it was funny, and I laughed. So, and that's what was going on. It's a good movie. No spoilers for anyone. And also, that's annoying. I just, yeah. I just watched it with her, and I said to her before the movie started, I was like, I have no movie snacks. And she was like, oh, you don't? I was like, no, I don't have popcorn, I don't have M&Ms, I don't have anything. And then I found a piece of yellow chocolate icing cake, and I had that, and some off-brand Pringles from either Kroger or Walmart. I forgot which one of the two. But yeah, we watched that, and she was like, oh, finally the movie's over, I can go to the bathroom. So she went to the bathroom, and I got a message from IVU, and Harley Quinn is actually Bruce Wayne's daughter. Well, we call him Lucifer Morningstar now. Hannah used to call him Lucy, Luci, not Lucy. But she used to call him Lucy because they were dating at one point on that app. And so she used to call him Lucy, and sometimes Lucifer, without the morning star, just call him Lucifer. And yeah, so his daughter last night messaged me and said, can I be your girlfriend? I was like, sure, why not? And I told Hannah. Hannah got really excited, and she was like, is everything going well? And I was like, yes, it is. It's going very well. And we was talking and taking pictures, and Hannah took me to this one room called W&B room, and we took photos, me and Harley Quinn, me and Harley. And before that, we went to the Lux, because at one point we went to her place, and we started chatting and stuff like that. And I said I'm a bounty hunter, and I was telling her stuff like that. What I did for a living. I asked her what did she do for a living. And she was like, well, I was a part of Suicide Squad, and then we broke up for a little bit. The squad did. And I was like, oh, cool. So sat there and, just telling me everything about herself. And she was so interested in me, she wants a little vampire running around. So I thought that was very cute. So she wants a baby from me, basically. So I'm going to chat to her today, because she's pissing me, Hannah, Maddie, Willow, and Amara off, because she's using one-letter words, or, one letter for a response, being like, K, cool, Alright. And it gets annoying after a while. It's pissing me off and it's pissing Hannah off. As well as Madeline and Amara and Willow. So, and Fluffy. It's pissing Fluffy off too. The lion. Anyway, at some point I'm going to buy a lion and a lioness. And so that way, the lion and the lioness can have kids. You know, a lion pup, I said. Because Hannah was going to go do cooking. And I was earning credits. And she was like, lol. And I was like, lol. Lion pups. Let's get us some lion pups. That's what I said. And she was like, lol. LOL. And anyway, so she finished cooking dinner and she had dinner. She had, I think, breakfast for dinner. She had waffles and bacon and maple syrup on the bacon. And she was like, it's heaven. And like, we were just chatting about that. And also, you know, we sat there and just chatted about it. And I clicked the wrong survey and it said permanently suspended. And I was like, what? And, you know, I was going through it and stuff like that, and I was confused. I was just like, why am I permanently suspended? It's not something I said on a post, was it? Like, F it or something like that. Or something I said on a post, but it's not post related, it's survey related. And so, like, I was sitting there going through my head, going through my